or Branch Rickey, it seemed to be a philosophy of quality out of quantity. Now with the money being as big of an issue as it is now, it's now quality out of quality. So when you invest $2 million on a guy, you better hopefully turn out to be something, again, $2.1 million, even the $0.1 million at age 16 is a lot more than I had at age 16. So,
what John will be doing, with these kids out of college, he will be a teacher.
Right.
He will absolutely be a teacher, and he will be, he will be somebody that can conceivably change someone's whole direction.
Right.
And, send them on the right road.
Yeah. Well, I saw him down the field. I met him down the Park League game.
Uh-huh.
I seen him throwing. And I heard that mid pop, and I said, well, who was that? So I went over to Archie.
Does he throw faster than you do, Henry?
A lot more than I ever did, boy. If I could throw like that, I'd be very happy,
Well, I always look at it like, there's always somebody out there that throws harder than you, no matter who you are. And so, it's more important that you know where it's going as opposed to how hard it is and how fast it's getting there. I'm not going to lie. It'd be nice to throw harder. But entering pro ball, that was actually one of the first things that you come to notice where, there's a wealth of talent and everyone's different. But the first thing that you realize is that everyone's in the same boat. And I think that's what makes minor league baseball, and playing in a place like Lowell, where it was actually a nice place to play. It's closer to a family than it is anything else in that, regardless of the background. I mean, a lot of the kids, the majority of the roster tend to be college guys, but there are a few guys that tend to be younger, 21, younger than 21, in fact. And some of them come from the Dominican or Venezuela. And for a lot of them, it's their introduction to the English language, let alone playing baseball in a whole other country. And so the first thing you tend to learn, as much as you learn baseball, is you learn what it means to become a professional. And the difficult things, don't tend to be just physical as much as a mental and emotional grind. And the funny thing is, it's called short season in regards to the New York Penn League, is it's only, 92 games?
76.
76. Even
76
less.
games?
But at the same time, I mean, that's enduring enough as it is. So it's only an introduction to what, they're going to have to deal with the next year. But again, playing in a place like Lowell, amongst a few other places, it helps facilitate that transition, which isn't the easiest one in the world.
Yeah. Now, do you go to any of your games? Are you down actively? Do people know you? Or
90% of them.
90% of them? Yeah. Do they win most of the games when you're there? Huh?
I don't think it has much effect.
Yeah.
No?
I don't think so.
Have you seen any good plays? I mean, any good players come through there? Why don't you tell us about some of them?
Oh, gosh.
Let the audience know
Yeah,
what kind of players you've had there.
It started off David Eckstein.
Eckstein, sure. We all know him.
And
he was in the World Series.
he has 2 rings.
Yeah. Okay, who else?
And, Euclid,
Kevin Youkilis?
Kevin Euclid,
Okay.
Lou Ford, who played for Minnesota, Buchholz, Clay Buchholz,
Right.
Jacoby Ellsbury,
Yeah.
Jed Lowry. Last year, actually, the #1 pick, Ryan Westmoreland.
Yeah.
David Murphy, who's in Texas. Hillenbrand, who played for the Red Sox several years ago.
Yeah. Would this guy be able to play for you when he was younger?
He would have tore up the league. He would have tore up the league.
I actually pitched in Lowell.
How did you do there?
I had 1 inning, I had 2 strikeouts and a ground ball to second base. So it's one of the. I think that's why I like it even that much more. You always tend to remember the places you have some measure of success, and again, especially when you actually have people showing up for the games. It was nice that that particular outing went pretty well.
Yeah, but a lot of people, they don't know the minor league life, the grind, the training.
Yeah.
They all see the glamorous part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the people about what it's really like in the minors? Like the travel,
Well,
the hotels and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's unique. There's really nothing similar to it. the difference between, people tend to live their lives in, 5-day-a-week schedules where you live Monday to Friday, you have your weekend, and then you come back to work on Monday.
Right.
In baseball, it tends to be you live your life in a series. So whether it be 4 games, 3 games here, or at home, one way or another, you always feel like you're in transit. And one of the first things you tend to learn is you tend to become utilitarian when it comes to your packing, what you need with you, what you don't need with you. But there is a certain level of intimacy that you get to share where, you have to be there every day. Any other job you come up and, you walk into work that day, you don't feel particularly well. You don't necessarily have to be there, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Right, you can call in. But
exactly.
In the minors.
But in baseball, unfortunately, they keep numbers every day.
Right.
And so you tend to become accountable for your behavior every day. And so it's unique and it's difficult, but it's worth it in that it teaches you to have a certain sense of self and what you need to do to prepare yourself day in, day out, and take responsibility for however that day might go. Hopefully it'll work out more good than bad, but unfortunately you never really know. So you tend to learn early that preparation is probably more important than the results because one, you have a certain level of control. And the
what
other
about
one,
housing and meals?
Housing and meals tend to be unique to every team as well, but you get used to going, visiting clubhouses. You tend to remember that it's called the spread, which is the food that they tend to give out before the game and a little bit after the game. You do a lot of eating in your hotel room, and there are a lot of bus trips. And so, what you tend to call home tends to suggest the people you're sharing your space with as opposed to the location, because it always seems like it's changing one week to another.
Yeah.
And before you know it, it's over. So, again, I wouldn't trade for anything in the world, but I will say this, hopefully if you can make it to the promised land, you can make it to the big leagues, you've generally earned it.
Yeah.
You spent your time doing it.
But at each level, did they treat you a little better? Like when AAA to rookie ball? I mean...
There's a certain sense that there was a difference. I think the biggest difference was probably high A to AA. I think once you reach AA, there tends to be a certain expectation that comes along with it where you're playing with players that are a little bit older, and there tends to be a certain attitude that you're expected to act like a professional. You're expected to carry yourself like one, and so they treat you, I guess the expression would be like more like a man than a child. Yeah. I don't necessarily think it's definitive, but there's definitely a difference as far as it's an expectation now. Before they kind of cut you a little bit more slack, but after a certain point, it's expected.
Oh, what do you mean they cut you slack? I mean,
well, everyone makes mistakes.
See, a lot of people think that minor leagues are glamorous.
Oh no!
And I've told them over and over, it's a grind. It's not that easy.
Well, there seems to be, for a lot of people, a lot of players do get large bonuses, but the majority don't. And I was telling Drew earlier about there tends to be a self-regulating system where players tend to police one another. You're a reflection on me as I'm a reflection on you, so there's a certain expectation that we have as teammates and as individuals to be the best we can be. And so, you tend to learn quickly that you need to be on board, and if you're not, then you probably won't find yourself there come the next year.
Yeah. So, Drew, have you had any experiences like that, or did any ball players complain?
I'll tell you what, David Cohn once said the greatest time he ever had in baseball was minor leagues. And I think the camaraderie is something that is never replaced in the major leagues. The players, a name that I forgot who played for us, I don't know how I forgot, but Jonathan Papelbon played for us.
Yeah.
And we had him back 3 years ago for dinner, and we brought a few of the players back that played with him who, never got past single A.
Yeah. Now,
never got past single A, and when he saw them, they were all hugging each other.
Yeah. Somebody from the class would like to ask you a question. So come on up. Okay. It's one of the students.